Hello, we're live. So this is a sort of informational session for anybody who's interested in taking the Refcode Bubble Bootcamp. Now, this video will go on the top of a little mini course, and that mini course is the application and the assessment for the Bubble Bootcamp. So congratulations, you made it into the first part. So enroll in this class. This little mini class to complete your application, and you will be considered for the actual boot camp. So let me tell you about the boot camp so you can know if you're actually interested in doing it. So first off, a little bit about Refcode, and then a little bit about Bubble, and a little bit about what this course will teach you and what you can do after graduating this course with Bubble and with Refcode. And I guess before I get into all that, I should introduce myself. My name is Brenton Strine, and I am a software engineer. I have been writing code for over 25 years. I've worked at a lot of, most of my career has been in enterprise scale web applications, software applications. So I've worked at big companies, building very complex, large, involved software for millions or hundreds of millions of users. I've worked at places like Citrix, Amazon, NASA, and most recently at MailChimp. And I actually left MailChimp a couple of years ago to co-found a startup called Kiki. And that's what I'm doing today, is working on Kiki. I'm also the founder of Refcode. And Refcode is the organization that is putting this on. Refcode was founded in 2017 with the mission of helping immigrants and refugees who are in Atlanta, specifically Clarkston, helping them to start careers, launch their careers in software. So for those of you who don't know, Clarkston, which is just outside of Atlanta, it's adjacent to Atlanta city limits. Clarkston is a United Nations refugee resettlement site. And so that means that for decades, people have been located to Clarkston from all over the world for all kinds of reasons. Whenever people get displaced from their homes and have to cross an international border, they technically become a refugee according to the UN. And there's a whole process. They oftentimes spend years in camps, and there's a vetting process, and the UN tells them where they will go. And one of the places that the UN sends them is Clarkston. There's also a lot of other types of immigrants here in Clarkston. For example, if you're in Afghanistan, Congress passed a special law, and if you come from Afghanistan under that law, you're an SIV. I think it stands for Special Immigrant Visa. You're an SIV holder. You're not technically a refugee. There's also asylum seekers. So there's a lot of different types of immigrants that land in Clarkston. And the mission of Refcode is to help those people who are here and often, come from distinguished backgrounds. Maybe you're a civil engineer or a lawyer or a doctor, and your credentials don't really apply in the United States the way they did in the country of origin. And so you have to start over. And so Refcode is here as an option for those people who want to start over and go down the path of creating software. Now, in the past, we have focused a lot on code. In fact, that's why we named it Refcode, refugee code. However, the landscape has changed, and there's actually an evolution of code that's available now to build complex applications in. And this is a platform called Bubble. Bubble is technically what's called a no-code platform. And what that means is that you're not writing code letter by letter the way you would if you were writing in HTML or CSS or JavaScript. What that does not mean is that a no-code platform, or Bubble specifically, it does not mean that Bubble is a language that is not a programming language. It doesn't mean that Bubble is easy. It doesn't mean that Bubble is for non-technical people. Now, they market themselves as being for non-technical people, but I want to explain what that means. What it means is that you don't have to already know code. You do have to be somebody who is very good with following detailed instructions, thinking through how a complex thing works. So if you have a background where you had to pay attention to details and work with numbers and think through how parts of things work together. So like if you did mechanical things or building, or like even if you're like good with puzzles, for example, that might be an indication that you have the right sort of mindset to work with Bubble. If you learn Bubble, you are a technical person and you are programming. You are a programmer if you learn Bubble. Bubble is a visual programming language. It's actually a more abstract way of programming. So a lot of people who have already learned software engineering with traditional code think that Bubble is sort of like coding with training wheels. It's like practice coding, or it's like not as good. It's not as serious coding. It's like coding light. And that's actually what I thought when I first started using Bubble. As I mentioned, I've been a software engineer for a long career, and I have 25 years of experience writing code. When I first started using Bubble, I thought that Bubble was a cheap version, a not as good version of programming. And what I've discovered in the 2 years that I've been developing web applications with Bubble is that Bubble is actually the next generation of programming. It's one level more abstract. If you look at the history of programming, in the early days, it was very, very difficult to comprehend what you were writing in code because it was close to just ones and zeros and numbers. And so the evolution of programming languages over the years has been a journey of taking things closer that used to be closer to ones and zeros and like pure machine code, and moving it towards being closer and closer to English or whatever language you happen to speak to. So we started with like assembly, and we moved into different languages that start using English syntax a little bit. And Bubble is a major leap forward in that of taking you're doing the same things that you do with any other programming language, but you're doing it in a more visual way because you're using a mouse oftentimes, sometimes the keyboard too, but you're oftentimes selecting from drop downs rather than typing things in. And the things that are available to you prevent you from creating syntax errors and writing incorrect, invalid expressions. And the language is one step closer to English. It's one step closer to the way that people think, I think. And so it's easier to learn at first if you don't have a technical background. But like I say, once you learn Bubble, you are now a technical person. So Bubble is not a language for non-technical people. It might be a language for people who are not technical yet. And that's what this course aims to do. It aims to take you from wherever you are, whatever your starting point is, technical or not. If you're like me and you have 25 years of experience writing code, this course is for you. If you're not like me and you've never written a line of code in your life, this course is also for you. Because what this course will do is it will introduce you to Bubble, help you understand what Bubble is, and show you the basics of how to build an application in Bubble. Not a page, not just a static website, but a dynamic, interactive application, web application. And it's very important to make that distinction because a lot of no-code tools out there are only able to build very simple, either limited in scope applications or web documents. So something like Webflow, if you've heard of it, mostly creates a document, almost a static document. And Bubble is completely dynamic and open to everything. So at the end of this class, you will know the basics of how to use all of the different parts of Bubble. You'll know what's possible to build with Bubble, and you'll know how to use all the different parts of Bubble. You will also have built a couple of projects in the course. That includes a to-do list where a user can come in and create an item and then check it off when it's done. You will have built a web marketplace. A marketplace is a website where people can log in and upload items to sell, and other people can log in and browse those items and purchase them. So you will have built one of those in this class. And at the end of this class, you will be ready to build a clone of a major website. And what is a clone? A clone is a sort of like a copy, or when you build a website that is similar to another website. So we'll have a couple of options for you. I think last time the clone that we had students build was an Instagram clone. So students actually built their own fake knockoff of Instagram. Now, if it sounds unbelievable to you that you could actually build your own version of Instagram after taking this course in a short amount of time, I can understand. I can understand why that might feel unbelievable to you. And I know that you can do it, because when we ran this class before, when we ran this boot camp before, people didn't think they could do it then, but guess what? They did it. And I'm going to put a link in this little mini course, this assessment application course, to a contest that we had at the end of our first boot camp, where we took the top 4 graduates, the top 4 Bubble Bootcamp graduates, and we had a competition. We put them against Mehdi, who is a senior software engineer at Google. And we gave them the same task. We said, you're going to build an application, a simple application. Everybody has the same rules. It has to do the same things. And we're going to do it as fast as you can and see who can do it faster. And the question was, could our Bubble graduates build a complex, dynamic software application in anywhere near the same speed as somebody who had years of experience and is one of the best engineers in the world? Google hires the best engineers in the world, and Mehdi was a senior engineer at Google. So that's a very high level of experience. And I'm not going to spoil the ending for you. I'm going to let you watch that and see how it played out. But just keep in your mind that this could be you at the end of this class. And there'll be plenty of room for questions and answers along the way. The way we structure this class is that we have a Slack channel that has people there to help you, TAs, instructors, teachers, other students. And so ask your questions on Slack, post your answers in Slack. A lot of the homework will direct you to post things in Slack. Slack is kind of the center. So you're going to need to turn your Slack notifications on your phone so that you don't miss things when they're posted there. So Slack is kind of the central point of communication for the Bubble Bootcamp. And you'll have plenty of opportunity to get help through Slack. There will also be a meeting, a main class session once per week. And that'll be different for different cohorts. For example, right now we're preparing for a November cohort, November 8th, 2023. In the future, it might be different times of the week, but you can adjust that in the future for what your specific session will be. But just as an example, this one, the main session will be Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock is when the all-together session starts. And so you can be online or in person. If you're online, then you'll log into the Zoom call at 8 o'clock. From 8 to 9, we'll have the main class session. If you're in person, then you can come to our space in Clarkston and sit down, and it'll be all one big class, and it'll be taught, it'll be actually like remote first, meaning the experience of remote participants will be sort of like prioritized. You'll have a good experience. And we're doing that in a couple of different ways. For example, the instructor might not be in the classroom physically. The instructor might be remote. So it kind of forces everybody to be in a good place together. Now, if you come in person, you have the opportunity to come earlier, like at 6 o'clock, and participate in 2 hours of programming that's available for those of you who are in person, able to attend, do the networking and eat dinner together and get tutoring and all the fun, amazing things that happen when people gather physically together in one place. And we'll also have opportunities for people to connect online beforehand as well. So that's one thing, the main class session. Another thing that will happen every week is you'll have to meet with a TA or a tutor, and they're going to just check that you are progressing on your homework, and they're going to provide mentorship and guidance and help you work through anything you might be stuck on. And lastly, there will be a session, I'm calling it right now, Bubble Flicks and Chill, kind of like a riff on Netflix and chill. And what that is going to be is we're going to watch an educational video on something related to Bubble. And then as a group, everybody will talk about it, discuss. So all of those are online. The class session will be at a specific time. The Bubble Flicks and Chill session will be at a specific time, same time each week. Your individual meeting with your tutor or with your TA, you're going to have to schedule that. And so it might be at a different time every week. And we've got 10 weeks roughly of work to do. It's a lot of work. You're going to have to put in a lot of hours. I would say at a minimum, 15 hours will get you barely scraping by to pass. This is going to be a fast-paced course. And what I've found is that people who are not able to keep up with the programming are usually not able to keep up with the whole journey of the career in the future. So if you fall more than a week behind, that's an indication that this career path is not for you. And we're going to drop you from the class because there's not really any further point in wasting your time putting energy into something that is probably not going to pan out for you. And I know it sounds really harsh and really strict, but after a lot of thought and watching a lot of people, we feel that this is actually the kindest and most generous thing we can do is if we realize that becoming a Bubble developer is not going to work out for you because you can't keep up with the homework. It's kinder to cut it off early so that you can find a different direction. And I hope that you understand that I'm saying that with all of the, understanding and kindness in my heart. I don't mean to be mean, and I'm not judging you. Like, this is not a career path for everybody. This is something that takes a certain type of way of thinking. It takes a certain ability. I'm a dad. I have 2 kids. This is not something that I could get into today. If I was starting this journey today with my 2 children, and my schedule and the amount of time that I have available, I wouldn't be able to do it. So I'm not saying that like there's anything wrong with you if you can't do it. It might just be the life stage you're in. It might be the work you have, where you're physically located, the commute you have to do. There's a lot of factors that could say this is not right for you right now. And there might be some factors just about the way that your brain works and your motivation that might say this is not right for you right now or ever. Okay, so what are the career prospects for people who learn Bubble? Bubble is an up-and-coming technology. It's a new way to build sophisticated web applications. And a lot of software engineers have not learned it yet. And so we actually have an amazing opportunity right now to get into this new technology that is, I believe, truly with my whole heart, I believe this is the future of where web development is going. The entire industry is going to be here soon. And so by learning this technology, you get to be on the forefront of that, and you get to have first crack at those jobs. And when Bubble becomes really big, and by the way, it's growing quite big already, but it's about to be huge. Like, it's about to be everywhere. But when it gets really big and suddenly every company in the world is looking for a Bubble developer, you get to be the person who already has 3 years of experience or 2 years of experience or whatever, compared to the software engineers who find out about it too late and they're trying to learn this new technology and they don't have the experience yet. So I do believe that there is a big, good career path for the future. There's also a career path right now. There's many, many Bubble agencies. There's many companies building with Bubble. And of course, you can build your own software with Bubble if that's something that you're interested in. If you're a founder of a company, like I am with Kiki, you can build your own application yourself. And you don't have to have a computer science degree to succeed. I don't have a computer science degree, by the way. So the sort of journey that you might go through is, after graduating this course, that gives you kind of the basics of Bubble. After that, you can start building on your own. There's a lot you can start doing. You could even start freelancing, but you're probably not going to be qualified to land a job anywhere just after this bootcamp. You're going to have to develop some additional experience. And one of the ways that you can develop additional experience is by getting hired into the Refcode software agency. We have a software agency where we build software in Bubble for anybody who wants to pay for it. And we have internships, and we have junior bubble technician positions that have a very low level of requirements of experience. So you can apply and be hired into the software agency immediately after graduating this, depending on what our needs are. And if you do that, then it's just a matter of gaining experience and moving through the ranks of junior technician to mid-level technician to senior technician to junior engineer, mid-level engineer, senior engineer, etc. And by the time you become a junior engineer at Refcode Software Agency, you're probably at the point where you're ready to be hired pretty much anywhere at other Bubble agencies or companies using Bubble. I would say that it takes about 3 months to move up the technician, 3 to 6 months to move up each of the levels of technicians. So if you get hired as a junior Bubble technician, you could get promoted to a mid-level Bubble technician in 3 to 6 months, depending on your skill level and how quickly you move. Now, to become a junior engineer, you need to do something called the Bubble certification. You need to pass the Bubble certification. This is a test that Bubble, the company, has put together to certify that you understand the basics of Bubble. And it's a very valuable test. Now, this is actually very rare in software that there's an actual test that certifies in a sort of like definitive way that you are skilled in the technology. Nothing like this exists for JavaScript. Nothing like this exists for backend languages. There are, of course, plenty of tests that you can take, but none of them quite have the authority that this Bubble certification does. This Bubble certification is similar to like passing the bar if you're going to become a lawyer or something like that. It's kind of like the baseline that shows that you have the basic competency to do the work. And so you will, in your career path, get that baseline competency. And once you do, that helps you pass that threshold into junior engineer at Refcode Software Agency. But that also means that you're now probably in a place where you can start looking for jobs anywhere that is hiring Bubble technicians and Bubble engineers. And there's many places worldwide. And we can help you with that. We have a lot of experience and a lot of connections. And my goal is to help get you connected to employment. Now, one last question that some people may have is, why is this open to everybody and not just the primary mission demographic that Refcode is for, meaning refugees in it and immigrants who are in Atlanta? And the reason is that I've realized over the years, in order for Refcode to succeed, we have to have a thriving community of developers. And we've seen this with our Refcode programming in traditional code, where what really helped us succeed was not we had a ton of money, not we had a ton of time even necessarily, but that we had a ton of people who volunteered their time and cared about the mission. And so we have been able to accomplish a lot because we've had a lot of people who have a lot of knowledge and skill, software engineers who have very they're getting paid $100 an hour, and they come and give their time. And so that's $100 an hour worth of value of time to volunteer to help with our programming. And what I've realized is we need that in Bubble too. But because Bubble is newer, we need to build the community of Bubblers worldwide and in Atlanta specifically. And what I think we can do is I think we can make Atlanta the Bubble capital of the world. There's actually a lot of reasons that Bubble makes sense as a really valuable and central place for Bubble development to happen. And so it has become Refcode's mission and my mission now to develop Bubble, to develop Atlanta into becoming the Bubble capital of the world. And that means we need to have a lot of Bubble developers succeeding, building in Bubble. We need to have companies building in Bubble, hiring employees in Bubble. Think about how Silicon Valley works. You get sort of like a core foundation, especially community, supporting each other, and it draws more people in. And the more people it draws in from different directions, students, teachers, employers, founders, employees, it just builds the ecosystem bigger and bigger. And it becomes very easy to be well connected, very easy to find the person you need, and it helps everybody succeed. It helps everybody in the ecosystem succeed no matter where you are. And so it's kind of the concept of a rising tide lifts all ships. If we can build this bubble ecosystem in Atlanta, then the refugees, who I think will be the central core of this new wave of developers, will benefit from it. And so the mission of Refcode at its core is to help refugees and immigrants. And in order to do that, we're taking on the much bigger challenge of building the bubble community worldwide and in Atlanta and in Clarkston. So that's a broad overview. We're coming close to the 30-minute mark here. Please feel free to log into Slack and ask any questions you may have. Feel free to reach out to me directly on Slack. And I look forward to seeing you in the Bubble Bootcamp. Goodbye.